Formula One comes to Sao Paulo, Brazil for the last sprint race of 2023. Welcome to Interlagos. So after this, we take a 2-week break before the final 2 races for the first ever time on the Las Vegas Strip before the United Arab Emirates, and confirmation that the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix will go ahead and never in doubt. Max Verstappen leads on 491 points. Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton's battle for second place is what all eyes are on, just 20 points between them. Carlos Sainz is level with Fernando Alonso, being caught by Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. George Russell tailing back in 8th. Oscar Piastri, Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll round out the first page. Esteban Ocon is in 12th on 45 points. Alexander Albon, 27 in the Williams, a remarkable achievement. Bottas only on 10, a point clear of Hulkenberg, who's a point clear of Tsunoda. Danny Ricciardo getting his first points back in Formula One last time out in Mexico. Then it's same as Zhou Guan Yu. Magnussen on 3 points, Liam Lawson on 2, Sargent with 1, and still no points for Nick de Vries. And there won't be as he's back in Formula E. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull on 731 points. Mercedes now clear Ferrari in second, 371 to Ferrari's 349. McLaren are in a battle with Aston Martin, 20 points between them as Aston drop back to 5th. Alpine secure 6th. Williams clear of AlphaTauri for 7th. They're, though, in a battle with Alfa Romeo, level on 16 points. Haas joining the party, they're on 12. Let's take a look at the Autodromo Juan Carlos Palace as well. 2.667 miles, 71 laps ahead of us as well. 15 corners in the dry, it's challenging. In the wet, it's unbelievable. This is a fantastic race. It's important to get a good run out the last corner then as you run uphill towards turn number 1 and 2, the Senna S. Hard on the brakes then, flick to the left, downhill, back on the accelerator as you come round the Curva de Sol, a long sweeping left-hander, down the back straight then towards Docina de Lago as well. You've got open up your DRS, slam on the brakes about 50 metres to go, flick the car into turn 4, use the exit curb a lot, and then flat out up the hill as well towards Ferradura, 6th gear corner for turn number 6. Flick the car in towards the right, uphill section of the track, double apex as well before you come into the Super boxes. Flew in now, keep it calm, round the oranges turn as well at turn 9 as well. Turn 10 as well, a little bit tricky to get right on the brakes as well as you have to slam down all the way 2nd gear. Into Magula then as well as you drop downhill dramatically towards Junção as well. Up through 7th gear, drop down to 4th gear, flick the car in again to the left and then back up now towards the last corner. You're flat out rising 6th gear, 7th gear, 8th gear as well. Flat out with the DRS open as you come across the line. In the old days you used to cut across the pit lane entrance, now not needed to, and that is a lap of Interlagos. Everybody, and welcome to the Autodromo Juan Carlos Palace for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Even though everybody knows it's the Brazilian Grand Prix, even the hashtag says Brazil GP, but renamed, of course, because the government here wanted to have a different Grand Prix called Brazil at Rio de Janeiro. Now, of course, this now becomes the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, but with the Brazilian flag, it's all confusing. But This is the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos, an amazing circuit, total of 4.309 kilometers, 15 turns. And Omi, it's a sprint weekend. Good afternoon to you. All going in for the action. So much to look forward to as we get ready for this hour.
Yep, absolutely. Just 1 hour of practice and then straight into qualifying later on today as well. And it is obviously the final sprint weekend. It usually is the best sprint of the season as well. We've been treated to some brilliant sprint races so far. So Brazil has a lot to deliver if it wants to be the best sprint as well. So looking forward to this. Brazil has always delivered a good sprint and it's always delivered good racing. So hopefully it's going to be something similar this year, obviously with that one practice session as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Perez versus Hamilton in the championship is our big one going into it. Are you going to expect to see any changes across the board as well? Would Hamilton take ahead of him this weekend?
It's definitely possible because obviously we have the sprint, more points on offer at the same time. Mercedes could be also in contention, so can Ferrari. But one thing is Red Bull are going to be in contention, but it usually isn't Sergio Perez, or he's only there for about a few seconds like Mexico, where at turn one he turned in and took himself out of that Grand Prix, trying to be the hero from P5 on that one. But if he did make it work, then that would have been absolutely extraordinary. But he didn't. Well, he wasn't able to make it work, and instead it was a retirement due to that crash on lap one. So he's got to be careful now and make sure that he doesn't have anything similar because he's losing quite a lot of points.
Interesting enough, Esteban Ocon is the driver with the most retirements in 2023. Sergio Perez right behind him. It's 7 for Ocon and 4 for Perez as well. Practice 1 is now qualifying, coming away at 5:45 p.m. GMT. Tomorrow, sprint shootout, 1:45 sprint race. That's from 5:45. Race on Sunday on air at 4. Lights out at 5 p.m. Okay, here we go then. Time to head up to the commentary. It's the one and only practice session for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's the final sprint weekend of 2023. It's wet, windy, just how we like it. Rain in the air here at Sao Paulo. It's round 20 of the 2023 Formula One World Championship. The Autodromo Juan Carlos Palace, more commonly known to me and you as Interlagos. It's our final of the stops down here as well in Brazil. Extended until 2030, another 7 years at this amazing track. A 1:07.281 is the lap record here set by Lewis Hamilton. 15 turns, top speed 210.2 miles an hour. That's over 338.3 kilometers. This track, awesome, high speed, high grip. It's middle Pirelli tires, C2 white hard, C3 yellow medium, C4 red soft tyres. So, intermediates are green, full wets are blue, just to update you in case we need them as well. Track temperature 41 degrees, air temperature 29. It's partially cloudy, but I'll tell you one thing as well, Omi, the conditions are due to get a lot worse than this. There is rain on coming into the track, and nobody actually knows exactly how much dry running we're going to have here today.
Yep. Well, last year we had absolute chaos, remember, with Kevin Magnussen taking pole position. So let's see if we get anything similar to that. But it's always chaotic here in Brazil, especially when you spice in some rain. It could bring a whole complete new level of chaos as well. So you never know how much dry running we could get in this session. It is really going to be disruptive to the teams if any rain was to come and most of the weekend's dry.
Ayrton Senna flag is up as well. The green screen filter's still on as well, but that'll be up throughout the weekend as well, starting with the sprint race tomorrow. Drivers all ready. We're all ready. Yeah, we're already coming into this weekend as well. So much interest in the championship. So much to worry about as well, especially considering the gap between Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton in the title. Just 20 points, but also level on points coming into this weekend as well. You've got Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso, and there was a lot of rumours circulating about Alonso going to Red Bull. Yeah. That's all disappeared now, thankfully. He said he didn't know where the rumours coming from and they're rubbish.
Yeah, a lot of rumours flying around, too many rumours as well. One with Abu Dhabi being cancelled, one obviously with Alonso going to Red Bull, one with him retiring as well. But let's head down to the pits with Ted.
Pit entry, and you know, if Brazil is the land of sun, sea, sand, samba and Senna, it's also the land of coconuts, because in the paddock there is a fresh fruit stall. Have you seen it? And lots of people.
To know I've been nowhere near it.
Lots of people have been taking advantage of the fresh fruit stall in the paddock. But the freshest fruit of all here in the paddock is still the oldest fruit, and that's the Red Bull RB19 here of Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen not even hanging around in the garage, Crofty. He's already left the pits and had gone to queue up at the end of the pit lane. But yeah, Max really relishing, like everybody else is relishing, another Grand Prix weekend. And he's relishing like he relishes eating a particularly ripe guava. Maybe like the one I saw Karun Chandok tucking into about 15 minutes ago. But Ayrton Senna's old team McLaren will be up there, as will be Ferrari and Mercedes. And talking of coconuts, Crofty, who's going to claim the bounty this weekend?
Oh, very good.
Who is going to come up rather shy of the results?
Ted, you're not you when you eat some, when you don't eat, so get some Snickers. There is the food stand with fresh fruit. You've got some melons, grapes, papayas, avocado, oranges, apples. Looks fantastic down there. But enough fruity talk, it's time to get down to the meat, because a one and only practice session is important, and they are all out at the end of the pit lane as the green light goes on, and we are underway for the sole hour of practice here at the Interlagos circuit for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, the world champion, is straight out there. Stroll and Alonso following him. Sargent, Ricciardo all coming in there too. Something's flown up my nose, some sort of bug in my nose. Oh, that is disgusting as well. Oh dear. I'm going to throw it down to you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Josh fights away with some bugs, as usually hates them quite a bit. But yeah, definitely. It's going to be an interesting one this weekend. Always, everyone does look forward to this Grand Prix, along with obviously you have Silverstone, Kota, some people also look forward to. So yeah, let's see how Brazil can deliver. And usually 99% of the time it delivers brilliant action. Let's hope this year it's nothing different as well, and hopefully an exciting sprint race comes our way. But not really surprised that everyone's heading out already, other than obviously a few drivers who decided to just sit out, but they're going to start heading out as well, because there's only 1 hour of practice.
There is, and the drivers heading out. I'm currently using a lip mic that's on the table because a proper black bug flew up my nose just a second ago, and that was utterly disgusting. Let's hear from Danny Ricciardo, shall we? He's on the team radio chatter already.
Alrighty, what's up, radio check?
Bonjour.
Jump on.
Danny Ricciardo clearly straight into the mix of things today and straight into the party atmosphere. Don't know where our driver tracker is at the moment, because look, it's not working, but it is working for us up here. Hopefully we'll get that sorted. That bug actually really hurt my nose. Like, it went straight up there.
on my front tyre. It's not upside down, but it is sideways.
We're just going to hope that comes off. We'll keep an eye on everything.
It'll soon flick off, I think.
Yeah, so there's something on the car there as well. Try and get it all sorted. Yeah, that's actually, I hope it wasn't anything stinging related, because it does hurt a little bit actually, just at the exit there. Oh, that's great, isn't it? Got loads of people watching and listening into us, and I've been stung by some sort of bug on the inside of my nose. That really has hurt, my goodness me. Oh, hate it when that happens. I wonder how on earth it got in the box. Must have flown in. Oh, just disgusting. Absolutely
Came with
disgusting.
you.
Yeah. There was a massive bug in here yesterday, actually, as well. It only flew out this morning. God, it really has hurt a little bit. The multi-viewer driver tracker thinks we're still in Mexico. It's not working at all. I don't know if you've seen it. So That's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Let's hear from Esteban Ocon. He's on the radio too.
There is a screw on my front tire. It's not upside down, but
yeah,
it's sideways.
We're just going to hope that comes off. We'll keep an eye on everything.
Yeah, so exactly as you said then, Omi, as well. The tyres not having put a bit of problems there. Verstappen sets the fastest first time. It's a 1:13.950. Alonso in second with a 1:15.067. Stroll third, 1:15.574. And they're all out there at the moment on the hard compound tyre. So no one got out there on soft or medium. They're all out there on the hard tyres. We're watching them now circulate on the track, which is great news to keep an eye on. Gasly's got some radio as well. Here he is.
Brake pedal is quite long.
So Gasly's got a long brake pedal coming into it as well. So we'll keep an eye out on that going forward. So we're trying to get the battle screen up and operational, but that too not working. There's George Russell. Massive cheer from the fans, actually. Our race winner here 12 months ago. Won the sprint race and won the Grand Prix from pole position. Of course, Magnussen claimed pole last year in the Friday session. Of course, in those days, it didn't set the grid for Sunday's race. The result from the sprint still did. They changed that at the start of this year. I think, we've got Mercedes bringing upgrades to the car this weekend, which is a bit risky because you're going to have the situation where you only get an hour to practice these updates, and then you're going straight forward. So if it's any mistake, any error, it's like you on a blind date, and it's either it goes very well and you have a nice time, or you're stuck with it to the end of the evening. And they're going to be locked into Parc Fermé when they go out for qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. So it could go horribly wrong, or it could go the opposite. And it is risky. You only get one session, so you don't have time compared to, for example, Mexico to test it. So definitely, hopefully it does go right for Mercedes. They're trying to claim victory once again, like you said last year. They were able to do so.
I take my seat, it's flexing. It's not installed correctly, but you can fix that after the run.
Max, we are aware of that. It's not a reliability concern. You're safe to stay out.
Yeah, GP, just exactly saying what Max was saying there. You will fix it after the session. I'm just letting you know. I think Max and GP's relationship is more like taunting each other. So no to fifth, 1:14.938 as well. Verstappen, then Leclerc jumps to second at 1:14.179. So there's a bit of delta still to be found out there on the circuit. Russell still improving in that second sector, but an awful lot of traffic is coming his way as well. So I wouldn't be too surprised if there'll be a few drivers out there complaining about this traffic. A good soft run as well. Let's hear from Max. Let's hear from Zhou Guanyu, actually. He's on the radio.
The front is a little bit touchy.
Copy, Joe.
So the front's catching a little bit for Zhou. Verstappen does a 1:13.138 on the hard tyres. Russell straight there. Goes 7th, the 1:14.907. Suppose, I mean, the one good thing about this practice session is traction feels very poor for Russell, so already that upgrade doesn't look good for Mercedes. But it's interesting, isn't it, that this is the only hour we get for practice, so everyone's out there straight away. It is a better format, in my opinion, the 1 hour practice, then we go into qualifying, but it's the Saturday that still needs work. I think the sprint's pretty much locked in, but we need work around the sprint quali.
Yeah, definitely. I think we were all saying one-shot qualifying, wasn't it? That they could add to make it a tiny bit different, because it's basically the exact same thing, but just shortened, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So put the cars out one at a time, fairest way to do it, and it's a lot more fun. 6 times a year, we'll like to see it on the board.
A little different.
Even a little different, yeah. Then we've got a bit of everything, haven't we? Elimination qualifying, 1 lap quali as well. Norris goes 4th, but he was sliding coming out of Magullo at turn 11, coming into Juncao at turn 12. And don't believe Crofty or anybody who says it's Juncao. Believe me, I've been watching Formula 1 for a long time, and it is Juncao. That is how you pronounce it as well. Not Junchao or Junbao. It is Juncao, as in Jun, and then cow, as in C-O-W, cow, but it's spelled J-U-N-C-A-O. So it's Jun Zhao as well, coming into it as well. It's all a bit over the top here at the moment. As Gasly, Mount Magullo. This is wow, where are we? This is actually the Oranges corner, coming into turn 9. Then it's coming into Rio di Pato Bico to Pato at turn 10. It's down the hill into Magullo, sweeps it back around the inside line. I'm completely turned around about where we are right now. Yeah, there it is. This is Junção. They've modified that part of the track a little bit. They've brought some safer barriers a bit more forward. Up through turn 13, then turn 14 is the Super de Boxes, which literally translates to corner at pit entry. So across the line at Aqua Bananas, and it's 1:17 for him into the Centre S. Easy to go through at turn number 1. But Omi, what's your favourite part of this track as well?
All of it, really. All of it. Really do enjoy this circuit in the real world and also in the esports. And talking about esports, how was these series on Wednesday as well? Oh, yeah.
He's got a broken mirror. Hopefully he didn't break that. Otherwise we're
7
for
years of bad luck.
7 years. This is a long time in an F1 career.
Even at his age.
But yeah, Carlos's idea of no points for the sprint, you know, in terms of counting for the main World Championship.
Absolutely.
But full reverse grid of the championship order, which means all the heavy hitters have to come through the pack. But you have a separate sprint championship, and you have a separate set of points, separate prize money, and maybe also, because you go, oh, what's the point of them? Why would they go for it? They can just drive around. Maybe the results of that championship affects the wind tunnel development time. You know, so there's a reason for the teams to push for a result in that. They'll have to develop cars that are good for overtaking, which will be a byproduct of that. And I think it's a win-win as we see Sainz coming out of Junção. I do think, you know, the way the Parc Fermé rules are, Crofty, you know, the way James Vowles, I think, saying earlier, well, if we relax Parc Fermé rules, we'll have qualifying engines and we'll have... I don't fully agree with that, because you can make a set of rules around that, right? You say setup changes, for example, or aerodynamic package changes aren't allowed. However, you can adjust the angle of the wings on the front and rear wings. You can't change engines, gearbox, those are sealed. So I think, you know, there's ways you can play the Parc Fermé rules, so we're not going into qualifying spec cars, for example.
Yeah, but we are having that situation with spec cars coming into qualifying as well, so it is always difficult to see it. Let's say good afternoon to everyone in the chat. Hello to SS Racing. Thank goodness no more sprints after this. Right, Fossil. Oh, Hamilton having a bit of a moment coming out of the... Where was that? That was down at Decina de Lago, wasn't it? Right, Fossil says... well, thank you for translating that. I couldn't translate that. Hello to Jess. Afternoon. Hello, Jess. Adam says, happy Friday, everyone. Have an awesome weekend. I already am. All right, Fossil. Anyone care to predict how many in front of Max will be in each race? Max will be winning quite quickly to come into it as well. And just wanted to point out, it is always a good weekend. As I don't know, I can't say anything just yet, I don't think. But yeah, it's already a good weekend to come into things. Good morning, everybody. So Hamilton then, he's 10th at the moment. Is he going to improve? DRS Open 19.060, 37.4. Hamilton goes up to 3rd across the line. 3 tenths down on Verstappen, but the upgrade's working well for Hamilton, not working well for George Russell. He's down in 17th place as things currently stand here in the session. So it's Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Alonso, Bottas, the top 5. Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, Hülkenberg and Sainz. The top 10 minutes. Tsunoda, Gasly, Stroll and Zhou, Ricciardo, and then Piastri, Magnussen, Sargent and Albon, and Russell has just jumped up into 4th position. His last lap time, a 1:13.744. So not a bad time as we now watch Alexander Albon up towards the line, hugging the inside, taking it nice and wide, and Albon comes across the line. 20th at the moment with no time set, and only goes 17th with a 1:14.713. Albon looked to take his first podium here, of course, back in 2019, but finished 14th after getting taken out by Lewis Hamilton at the Bico de Pato corner at turn 10. As well, Hamilton was given a penalty for that. It resulted in the first podiums for, well, Pierre Gasly beat Hamilton on the road in the Toro Rosso. But it was a first podium as well for Carlos Sainz back at the McLaren, and that was when it was the originator of Smooth Operator. It was here in Interlagos back in 2019, 4 years ago. And this is Sargent into the Decina de Lago. and all 4 wheels off the track, that will be a track limits violation. You can see that white curb as well. If you go over that, it defines the track limits even more. So they are strict this weekend. Another factor to consider is that there is now no slowing in the fast lane of the pit lane. So they've been told to stop that, and but you can create a gap between safety car, the pit exit line, and safety car line 2, which is the inside of the pit lane. That goes at the inside line of turn 1 and 2. So you'll see it if you're watching along with us as well. They're allowed to create that gap, and it's just going to get more and more tricky afterwards as well. I think I have to box charge on. So Tsunoda's coming in as well into the pits. We're on board with the Haas of Nico Hülkenberg, who is 12th fastest at the moment on the hard compound tyres. Takes it a lot more across the line. A lot of action then in the first 15 minutes here of the Brazilian Grand Prix weekend. Total of minimum is 6, maximum is 9 laps people have been doing so far. So they've been looking very, very strong. And actually, I think, Omi, as well, this is looking very good for the weekend. I'm keeping my fingers crossed here that we see rain in qualifying later, and it'll be the most unpredictable session of the year.
Hopefully. But looks like it's time to head down to the pits.
Cars, so it did look planned, not kind of any reaction to that first run to see that, there wasn't a reaction to something's wrong with the car. It looked like a planned front suspension change on both. Stroll's gone back out again. Alonso sitting in the garage waiting to see whether that change has actually made the car any faster.
Thank you very much.
So again, Aston are having problems, Omi. Again.
Yep, Aston having a tiny bit of issues, as they have had in the second half of the season. But yeah, I want some rain in qualifying. Rain in qualifying will definitely spice it up. So I'm hoping for it.
We all are. Hülkenberg 1:13.699 across the board. So that's where he stays. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Just listening as he comes into Junção. Nice exit pace from Leclerc as he comes up towards the line. 14 into, this is Super boxes coming into the last corner. Aqua Bananas, and it is 7th with a 1:13.833 across the board. So still a bit of delta time to be discovered and to be played with, but they've got the time, they've got the atmosphere. Let's go down to the Senna S and Martin Brundle, who's down there at turn 1.
2. Looking at the Senna S, it even looks like the Senna logo. It's very windy out here, which must be affecting the drivers when they pop out between grandstands and fencing and what have you. It's also pretty hot, to say the least. As you get older, you gain knowledge and your brain and your head grows through your hair, like happens to me. So my head is feeling quite burned out here, actually. We've got the marshals down here showing the white flag, which means there's a slow car ahead of you. And everything looks quite well behaved so far through here in terms of they're getting the car slowed down as they come into the top there, and you can see the banking and see how much it then plummets downhill. You must get tremendous acceleration as we see the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso. And George Russell there didn't make the apex, got in a little bit too hot. And it's these kind of technical parts of the racetrack where you can make up the time. Now, what we've also got here is the pit exit, which is highly unusual here in Interlagos, in that it runs all the way around the outside of turn 2, all the way around the inside of turn 3, down to the back straight. In fact, a third of the way down to turn 4, actually. And there's a new regulation this weekend, and hopefully somebody will come out of the pit so I can demonstrate it to you, that you're not allowed to stop at the end of the pit lane, like we saw somewhat uncomfortably in Mexico last weekend, where drivers were just blocking the pits. You're not allowed to stop there. You are allowed to go slowly and make a gap in the pit exit down to the first safety car line, which is way round there at the end of this pit lane. But you're obliged to stay on the left-hand side, so the extreme left-hand side, in case other drivers wish to pass you. Now, you can see how narrow this is in terms of what a challenge that might be. It's actually, and cars, of course, once you leave the pit lane itself, you can go as fast as you like through here. So when we see drivers really rehearsing this somewhat tight and no doubt dirty right-hander, of course nothing will come out of the pits so that I can demonstrate that to you, because being a sprint weekend, they want to be on the track as much as they can. We've got a slow Williams, so the white flag will come out as soon as he passes this marshal's post to warn anybody else coming along. There's somebody going at pedestrian speed, it must be said, out on the racetrack. Busy treading on my sunglasses here, so we'll pick those up and watch the Alpine go through. There's a little bump at the bottom of the hill there as they come out of one into two, which unsettles the car. They're choosing with these cars to stay off that curb as much as they can. So it might look like a simple left and right, but there's a huge amount going on from where I'm standing. Would be a great place to watch the race from as well. We just watched this Ferrari through, and then just takes a little nibble of the curb on the way through, and another very slow Williams, so they obviously have a strategy there. It's back to you, Crofty.
Thank you, Martin. And he's down there, turn two. This is Logan Sargent coming through the first two corners, down the Retroposta. Just taking it easy. He's just completed a run, actually, as Sargent is 17th fastest, a 1:14, 1:92. Alonso.
Fernando, possible punch on the rear left, stand by.
Yeah. Oh.
Fernando, we've got a puncher, Fernando, box, and run switch to puncher. Run switch to puncher.
And that's not good.
How much drama Aston Martin?
And that they had great difficulties, new setups, and that's, I believe, is that Alonso's second lap out of the pit lane. He's just in a 1:13.7. He's done 8 laps on these tyres in total, and this is his second run out there on the pit lane. So yeah, Alonso has got a puncture on 8-lap old hards, and of course you're limited on tyres this weekend with it being a sprint. You get 2 less of every compound, so I don't think he's going to go out again. He might have just lost a lot of time there. But I don't know if Pirelli still give you the extra set in a first practice session they can use for the first 20 minutes or so. I don't think that's any more the rules. So we'll see if Alonso goes out there on a set of mediums with about 20 minutes to go. But Alonso's losing a lot of time now.
Yep, drama Aston Martin continues as well. It's just not going their way in the last 2 races. It hasn't gone their way really in the second half as well. As we have a look at Oscar Piastri into the pit lane he goes.
Oh, he's locked up. Whoops. Nearly crashed in that curve in the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. But everything was just about okay there.
Good shot at the above of Interlagos here. Between the two lakes, Interlagos, that's what it means. As you can see, the lake on the left and the lake on the right of the TV pictures. It's an amazing atmosphere. It's an amazing atmosphere that everybody just wants to be here. They want to have fun. They want to listen as closely as they possibly can and just expect the unexpected at this legendary circuit here at Interlagos. As we've just seen them coming in once more. So 38 minutes to go. We're going to be joined this weekend hopefully by Ed Hunter in the qualifying, in the sprint race and main race, as he'll be joining us this weekend in the commentary box. Fingers crossed also, Jess will be here, and for the qualifying later. Josh T will be back, of course. It's only 3 o'clock, so he's at school as a half term is over. So just the normal team will be coming back shortly as they come into it. Hamilton now on a push lap. Just taking out the lead, so I can actually see the TV pictures up here in the commentary box at the moment. Russell's back in the pit lane. And Bottas fighting out there on the circuit as well. Omi, is your track map on multi-viewer going wrong, or is it just me?
It's going fine for me.
Right, it's me then. I'll have to change the data screens. Probably I've done something wrong. It's always the way. But yeah, I'll just we'll put it back on again. It won't take a second.
Well, how was the E-Series on Wednesday then?
Oh, E-Series went great. For PSG, lots of action in that race. Really was good. Nice to be back as well. In the commentary box. But, yeah.
What track was it?
We were at Bahrain, so you can imagine how dramatic it got for PSGL's E-Series. It's not the. To be honest with you, I'm missing Dead by Daylight more. What a game that was. Yeah, well, I'll get back there soon, hopefully. As opening up our timing graphics once more. I'm not even missing the F1 game really that much. No, driver check is still going wrong for me.
Poor Josh.
Yeah, can't get anything working. As they come into it. So, 36 minutes to go. It's Tsunoda on top, actually, with a 1:12.802. I mean, that while we were resetting over the systems, Tsunoda's jumped up to the top. Really good spot there. And he's done a 1:12.82. He's on the medium compound tyre, though. Let's hear from Logan Sargent.
Something's wrong with my visor.
Copy.
So Sargent's got something wrong with his visor. What about George Russell?
Traction was very weak out of 8 and 10.
Traction very weak out of 8 and 10. That's coming through. Well, that's actually coming out of the oranges corner and into Pico Tobacco. So he's making a bit of a mistake there as well. Here's Checo.
Yeah, my retard gave up. They went to hot.
Something about recharge. Couldn't quite make that out as well. Let's hear from Fernando.
Fernando, possible punch on
Oh,
the
we've
rear
heard
left,
this
stand by. Yeah, Fernando, we've got a puncher, Fernando, box, and run switch to puncher, run switch to puncher.
So, box for Lance Stroll as well. Work on brakes, says Yuki Tsunoda. Please cool down. Verstappen's exiting the pit lane, so he's back out there as well. One burnout on low grip, says is the radio call to Max Verstappen. And we're going to get back up now to race control as well. And hopefully we'll see something that we've missed as Hamilton crosses the line, stays in 4th. So this was a while ago. There's Tsunoda going fast. So yeah, that was a while ago on the timings. That was 2.5 minutes ago on the run. In this one and only practice session for the Brazilian Grand Prix. So it's Tsunoda, Verstappen, Perez, Russell, Hamilton. 1 to 5. Ted.
Where Daniel Ricciardo has been stuck in the garage for about 10 minutes with a damaged floor. The right rear section of his floor had a bit taken out of it, and they've actually just fixed it with some speed tape. It's not actually duct tape or gaffer tape, it's the silver-backed speed tape. They can't actually affect the repair to it quite quickly, but they've done as much as they can. It looks like it's just about finished now, and he's about to go out again, but they're still checking other bits of the floor. So yeah, this is time that Daniel Ricciardo can ill afford not to be out on track as he continues to perfect his setup with the car. Watching on, I've got to say, the first time since his season in Super Formula in Japan ended was Liam Lawson. Remember him? Yes. I know Formula One is a fashion business, but yeah, good to see Liam back. He had a strong final weekend in Suzuka, didn't manage to win the Super Formula title, but came a very creditable second. So well done, Liam, and welcome back to F1 as your driver, development driver and test driver and reserve driver role.
Cheers, Ted. Yeah, definitely deserves to be a full-on race driver.
Yeah.
F1 teams, please help me get the driver's signatures. Well, driver cards, personally. That's how I would suggest it. Driver cards. But I suppose postage and package is a bit hard. This is what makes it a world championship. We do go global. I've never seen it so packed on a Friday, actually, Omi, as well. We've had sprints here for the past 2. In fact, this is the only track that's consistently held a sprint race. And they've all been classics. But I've never seen it so packed on a Friday. Everyone is here. And it's like the whole of Interlagos and Sao Paulo have just closed down.
Yep, absolutely. As you said, we've obviously had a sprint every year since it began. Obviously, the sprints in 2021. We've had it in 2021, 2022, and obviously now in 2023 as well. So great to see it being packed as well. How much have you been keeping up with the F2 and F3 news as well?
I've been seeing all the driver announcements as well that have been coming into it. I know that we're going to have a hell of a time learning all the names, especially for Formula 3 next year. So that's good. But I know George Morgan's got the worst names trying to pronounce in Freca next year, so I'm sort of slightly happy about that one. But yeah, there's a lot of good news coming up for Formula 2 and Formula 3. Just, I want to get into that in a second, but Russell's setting fast to sectors 1 and 2 here. It's 18.6, 36.6. Verstappen goes top, 1:12.793. Russell blows it away by 9/10 of a second on the medium compound tyre, 1:11.865. So Mercedes fans happy about that. Mercedes will be happy about that. It looks like some of their updates are actually working. Perez goes to 4th, and Andrew Shuffling, the trackside engineer, watching on as well. Of course, it comes as news that Mike Elliott is leaving Mercedes, the chief technical officer, so it's going to be a whole new design. As Alonso goes 2nd on hard tyres, a 1:12.615. But yeah, you've got the F2 and F3 news, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely going to be interesting to see how they get on next year. I'm mostly looking forward to Andrea Kimi Antonelli in F2 though, to see how he gets on.
Straight up there, skipping F3 as well, Antonelli.
Yep, skipping F3, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how he gets on. Rumoured to be with Oliver Behrman, nothing confirmed yet, but most likely will be obviously Oliver Behrman as well. But yeah, going to be a great season for the feeder series next year.
There's a huge worry around, isn't there, all this, that Kimi Antonelli, of course, managed by Toto Wolff. We knew he was going to end up in F2, but Kimi Antonelli is going to be the next driver at Mercedes. No ifs or buts. He'll probably get either put in at Williams or somewhere else first, but Kimi Antonelli will be a Mercedes driver when Lewis Hamilton retires. It'll be Russell taking on the main mantle, and Kimi Antonelli will be alongside him. And he is such a fast driver, really quick, so I'm not surprised. I'm slightly surprised not doing F3, but he's done Euro F3, hasn't he? Here's good to stand though on the pit wall.
Take us through your decision on tyre allocation for this session. Obviously hard tyres, but is it worth you trying out the soft, or are you going to stay with the mediums? What's going to be going on in the next half an hour?
What's going on in the next half now? You basically want to know what we are putting on our next run, and that depends a little bit, I think, how the teams plan to do Sunday. And I think you know that our biggest struggle is tyre wear, so we need to harvest as many medium tyres as possible for Sunday. So I guess what that means, we will go out on soft tyres next.
Thank you very much, Gunther. I appreciate the honesty here. Next honest question. With the new upgrade, how has that helped your tyre wear, your rear tyre wear, which has been kind of like your Achilles wheel for this season, hasn't it?
Absolutely, and obviously Austin, we didn't get the best out of the car because we came a little bit too little prepared. Mexico, always difficult. In the end, we ended up having just not enough downforce in total. We didn't have more available, so we were a little bit sliding. So I think we find out here what it actually does, but we are still very worried that it still stays our biggest problem, the rear tire wear. You know, just not being able to do the stints like the other people do in the race, and we saw it again in Mexico. Up to 7 laps or 5 laps to go, Nico was holding on to points, but then the tires just degraded too much, and he slid back because he had no traction anymore. So therefore we keep obviously medium tires for Sunday, because we are pretty sure we cannot do a race using soft tires on Sunday.
And Gunther, have you guys understood why that is? Like, what is the root cause of this tyre wear issue? Because you had it a few years ago. I seem to recall when you had Roman in the car as well, and Kevin at that time. You know, is this something that you know you can fix with design, whether it's aero, balance distribution, suspension design, something you can fix for next year, or is it still a bit of a mystery?
It's a combination like all these things, but I think the biggest thing is just we need more downforce, so we slide less, so we don't overheat them. Obviously, our cooling of the rear rims is not ideal. We did a modification this year. It went the right direction. It is just not enough. And obviously, the suspension, I don't think it is the best suited suspension for tire protection. So it's a combination of the things. We are working on all of it, and hopefully we can fix most of it, you know, because it is not just one thing you need to focus on here by having this problem.
Because obviously we saw AlphaTauri have a good race in Mexico and jump ahead of you in the constructors. The tyre wear thing, you know, for people at home to understand, it's a huge impact in terms of the financial impact and the Constructors' Championship for you guys, isn't it?
Absolutely, and Alfa Romeo had a big race in Austin, you know, and hopefully we have got a big race here. That's the only thing we can hope now.
Gunther, we hope so too. Thanks ever so much. Last year's pole sitter is on track now. Kevin Magnussen, who was...
Yeah, Magnussen out there on the circuit as we thank Gunther Steiner for his time. And he's coming down. He's got Hulkenberg, actually, in that part of the circuit as well. So Magnussen actually 2 seconds ahead of where we are on RTV pictures right now. So that just proves how in sync this first session is on the board. But first sector for Kevin is a 18.767.
Is it raining?
I think it is raining, isn't it? I can see a little bit of darkness. Can you see it? Like a few spots.
Yeah, possibly. I think something might be starting to come in here.
Wind's blowing in at 14 kilometers an hour from the north. So it's coming in, isn't it? Track temperature 42.1, air temperature 30.2. As things stand, 51% humidity. That rain's coming in at 2 o'clock though for the race start. So there's a lot of time to be found as Magnussen goes up into third on those soft tyres. 1:12.663 on the Haas. So it's Russell, Alonso, Magnussen at the moment with the fastest delta times. Very interesting start. Very nice start actually to come through as well. Russell, Alonso and Magnussen in third position as well. This is a very good first session. Here's Hulkenberg coming in as well. 9th in Singapore, 18th Japan, 7th in Qatar, 16th in America, 12th in Mexico. There was a bit of a go away, wasn't it, in Austin for Haas. The last great American dynasty didn't do very well there, did they? This is Lando Norris on the inside line. Whoa! And slight contact with Nico Hulkenberg coming into Zheng Cao. A bit of miscommunication there.
Yep, 2 cars for a practice session there as well between the pair of them. But yeah, all of them continuing on then right now. But I do think this weekend, hopefully, I think this race could be the best one of this season. Brazil always does deliver, and hopefully we'll deliver the best action that we've seen all season. The action that we've missed all season as well at numerous points. So hopefully Brazil just delivers it all in one race.
Yep, 19 laps plus the 71, so you get a total of, well, quick maths, what, 80 laps a total? No, 90 laps, yeah. So you get 90 laps this weekend to commentate on as well. Over 400 kilometers of racing action. And
yep,
it all
and over
starts.
to Vegas as well.
Oh, Vegas. Can't stand the idea of
Mm-hmm.
Vegas. Yeah, that was weird actually. Oh, it was contact. Front left suspension for Hulkenberg to rear left of Lando.
Let's see the McLaren appearing. There we go.
Whose fault's that? Lando was like, it looked like he just wasn't turning. Hulkenberg turned in. I think that's just a miscommunication, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. As well.
They brought him in and checked, but nothing wrong. Go on.
Yeah. Looking forward, though, to Vegas. From the timings I've checked, the race, I'll watch the majority of it. I might just miss the Max Verstappen winning part, unless he doesn't win.
Well, you've been saying all year Vegas will be the bogey circuit.
Yeah, hopefully, but you never know.
Singapore turned into quite a bad one, didn't they, as well, for it. But it's enough. In the second half of the season, of course, Perez had more times than anyone. He retired in the sprint race in Belgium, retired in Japan, retired sprint race Qatar, and retired Mexico Grand Prix. So he's had 2 sprints and 2 Grand Prix DNFs. Could he take another one this weekend? Time will tell, but it's not looking all that good as Esteban Ocon goes up into 8th position on a 1:13.410. So he's finding the delta. Yeah, I thought that was coming. I could hear it in the radio. Them losing out. So we'll just switch that over. Russell still top there. He's just come back into the pit lane. So, first session ending quite interestingly with Russell, Alonso, Magnussen, but we still haven't seen a soft tyre or medium tyre run yet for Perez or Verstappen. So, could they still have some time to be found, some delta to come through?
Possibly, yep. Definitely we could see something. But Nico Hulkenberg, fastest to walk in the second sector then, as he's about to make his way over the line at the moment. Hulkenberg goes to second, so he's behind George Russell ahead of Fernando Alonso. So into second goes Hulkenberg, but Yeah, definitely. I think the Red Bulls will have some pace, especially with Verstappen. Perez might show it right now, but usually fades away when we get to qualifying, and he'll get into Q3. He's been getting into Q3, but he's been always those 8th, 9th, 10th positions. So still not too good for the man in the Red Bull.
Interesting enough, turn 12 incident involving cars 27 Hulkenberg and 4 Norris has now been noted by the stewards for causing a collision. So it's not under investigation yet. The stewards have just noted it down, and the race director will pass it on to the stewards. And if it's deemed relevant enough to be investigated, we'll be told that information here up in the commentary box as well. And hopefully you'll see it on the little race control box we've got down there. Max Verstappen had said a radio there. Let's listen.
This is something.
Box is that?
Max back into the pit lane, and he's not happy about something as well. Still says something's broke. Let's hear from Esteban Ocon.
We're still lacking front end a lot into 1, into 8, 9.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, they're the 2 heaviest braking zones into 8 and 9, and turn 1 as well on this circuit. Throw in turn 10 as well, so lacking on the front brakes. Lando's been sliding around at the rear all session. I don't know if you spotted it, Omi, but coming out of Magullo, the rear of that McLaren is just sliding out, and that's the side of the car that he hit Hulkenberg with. So there's a lot of problems going on here.
Yep, a lot of problems indeed there as well for Norris, but loving how now we get to choose when we want to play the radios rather than interrupting us literally all the time as well.
Yeah, it's nice not being interrupted by them as well. That used to get really annoying because he used to play twice, of course. So multi-viewer saves us all, but wish the driver tracker would get back in sync because it's going around the right map, but the map's not synced up with the drivers. So I'll have to look at the other screen as well. Luckily, we've got 2 different driver trackers up here in the commentary box. Wind, by the way, has dropped. It was 14 kilometers. It's now 10.8. Track temperature has also dropped. It's now 44. Air temperature dropped as well, now 30.6. So it has dropped quite a lot, Omi. So we could be seeing in the dreaded R word coming into it. Rain, rain, rain.
Yeah, definitely could be seeing a tiny bit of rain come into it. And I'm hoping it spices it up like last year and we get a bit of a shock qualifying, like a Alpine on pole or a Haas on pole, or you never know, something like that.
Let's fly back over to Crofty.
Just looking here at some speed traces, Nico Hulkenberg, 1/10 of a second faster out of Jun Sao, which you already said, Karun, very crucial corner. So anything you can make up in that corner, you then continue to make up on the straight.
Yeah, I don't know if he had a bit of snap of oversteer on the way out. If you look at the purple speed trace there is above the green one, indicating he came out of the corner a bit faster, but then it dropped away. So I don't know if maybe he got to the exit curb or he had a snap of oversteer or something that just cost him a little bit. But on the whole, yeah, it was a 10th that Nico was quicker, a part of the 7/10 gap that they got between them.
Difference between Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, about 2/10 of a second currently. Perez now back out on the track again. Red Bull very much concentrating on race runs here. So he makes his way descending down towards turn 4 and 5, and then you start to climb up once again through the horseshoe Ferradura, which I think is a mega corner. I really do.
See, Ricardo is back out on track, so whatever the floor issues were, Ted reported earlier, guess they've resolved it. Ted, have you got any more?
They just made do, Karun, with the speed tape, so they'll fix it properly when he gets back in the gap between now or the end of the session and qualifying. Interesting to see, if you want to do a bit of tyre chat, that for the Red Bulls are still carrying on with the hard tyres there. So
yes.
How long have we got left, Crofty? About 15, 20 minutes?
Oh, no, a bit more, 18 and a half.
Okay, right. Well, between 15 and 20 minutes. Halfway through. So Red Bull still something to learn on the hardest of all the 3 tyres for Perez and for Verstappen. So no chance, no look at any soft tyre runs for them. I'm going to base myself outside the Scuderia Ferrari to see what is going to happen with them. Tyre wear the focus for them in this session as well. They went into a couple of sprints race recently, not having a particularly long run on the tyres in this free practice session. I think they reflected that was a bit of a missed opportunity, a bit of a mistake. That's something they're putting right. I think they've done possibly more laps than anybody. I haven't seen them in the pits very much, Crofty. You've got the data in front of you. It feels like they've done a good 20 laps each,
Do you know
Leclerc
what,
and
Ted?
Sainz.
That's very good. They've done 24 laps.
And is that
each.
the most of anybody?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yes.
Hamilton
It is.
20.
I think it is, yeah. So they
You're on
clearly
fire today,
really
Travis.
put me
That's
out.
brilliant.
Put me out with a cold caipirinha. I'm on fire. Cold caipirinhas, sorry. So I think Ferrari just now are going to come back in. And Crofty, while I'm on fire down here, I'm going to lay it on the line. I'm not going to be surprised by Ferrari being on the front row of a grid anymore like they were in Mexico. I'm going to say that that's absolutely something that could happen this weekend and later today, based on what Sainz and Leclerc were saying yesterday and what I'm seeing from down here as well. I think they are in the game for pole position. There you go. Let it not be a surprise to anybody.
Probably not. Leclerc's taken the last 2 pole positions as well. One at Cota, one at Mexico. And Ted is right. They've done Leclerc 25 laps, Sainz 24, most of anyone. Hamilton's done 23, but I think he's back in the pit lane now. He is to come in there as well. Russell's only done 16, back in the pits. Oh, and Sargent off the track at turn 1 and 2. Gets his braking zone wrong, coming through the centre S and locks up straight on down the exit curb. Coming back now through the Curva de Sol. Then it's the Retroposta before Decina de Laga. Coming up towards Fedadora. Then into the Lamangina. Then into the Oranges at 9. And this is Ferrari down in the pits. And this is Charles Leclerc. Off go one set of hards. On go what looks to be a scrub set of medium. Sargent.
The front was completely off the ground.
Copy. I'll have a look.
It was. It was, you can see it. Front left was completely up. They came back down and locked up. Nice black line there, Omi, as well, at the exit. That's a solid, straight black line. It's like someone's drawn it in a marker pen.
Yeah, absolutely. There as well. Alonso sitting in the pits, impacted up a tiny bit as well with the extra run earlier on, the punch he had on those hards. But yeah, looking interesting. So far, nothing really too dramatic happening right now at the moment. We're just over 15 minutes to go.
I'm surprised by the 2 Hasses. 2nd and 3rd on those soft tyre runs is actually quite good. More impressive from Hulkenberg. 63 thousandths off the pace of Russell, as you said earlier on as well. Look at this. Sainz and Alonso leveling the championship. 183 points between them as well. And Sainz, of course, is a race winner this year. Aston Martin are not. They've dropped to 5th place in the Constructors' Championship as well. They are on 236 points. They are 20 back to McLaren on 256. McLaren have won a sprint race this year, of course, with Oscar Piastri 2 races ago at Qatar when Max was world champion. And Red Bull have won 18 races this year. Ferrari 1, McLaren 1 sprint race, of course. Verstappen's won 16 races, Perez 2, Sainz 1. Just to give you the full total of what's up on the wall here in the commentary box of all those stats and figures. It is getting darker out there, Remy, though, as you mentioned. And track temperature now at 45.7 degrees. That's rising, but air temperature only at 31. So sort of coming and going, isn't it? But definitely clouds coming over. Rain for quali later. Fingers crossed.
Fingers are crossed. We all want a tiny bit of rain for a shock.
Something's wrong with the front left, man.
Can't see anything. Let's have a look on his steering angle that we get up here in the commentary box as well. Yeah, he's rotating the wheel a little bit too much, isn't he, as well? He's extra compared to everybody else through that part of the track. So Sargent might have a problem. Albon, he's just on the screen now. Having long hair at the moment is really not good. I need to get a haircut. It's really annoying, the headsets. Needing new ear cups as well on the headset. We'll get that sorted over the winter. So Russell, I think, is back out on the track. He is, and he's going out there on a used set of medium compound tyres. Hulkenberg's best in the back in the pit lane, but he's done quite a lot of runs on softs. No mediums, though. He's saving those for qualifying by the look of it. Remember, you need to have a new set of soft tyres in Q3 and using the mediums only in Q1 and Q2. You can't use the hard tyre in the Q1 or Q2. You have to use mediums as well. That's why you're seeing so many runs on the hards in this session. It's why you're also seeing, with that puncture for Alonso, not much of a change around. Alexander Albon, continuing the pace he showed in practice at Mexico, goes up into third place, a 1:12.044. Stroll 17th at the moment. He goes into fourth, a 1:12.136 as well. So there are pace starting to come. Here comes Bottas as well. He's 18th fastest at the moment. Does he improve anywhere there? Only goes 10th, 1:13.1 on those mediums. Now we're seeing the glory runs in the last 12 minutes.
Yep, we absolutely are seeing the glory runs in the last few minutes. Back to Sargent we go. Let's see.
Oh, on the limit, wasn't he? Yeah, off track at turn 1, but this is at Decina Delaga. All four wheels off the track, yeah. It's hard to tell at some point. And then the front right locking up.
I'm driving around with 2 wheels, man. The fronts are off the ground.
We're checking.
Everywhere.
We're checking. Yeah, so back up, back up. We've seen issue.
I'm fine.
Yeah, finally Williams can use their eyes and see the problem. Front wheels are completely off. So right out, the suspension's completely mucked up. It really is off the ground. I've never seen that. He's three. Look, look at David on the other side. He's steering with the rear of the car. I have never. He's using the engine power. Brilliant. It's like a boat rudder, isn't it? As well, when you're steering from the back. And these aren't four-wheel drive cars. These are front-wheel drive Formula 1 cars. You get the power from the rear. That's what it's rear-wheel drive in terms of power, but it's front-wheel turning in. If the rear tyres don't do anything, they just give you the power. And they work on a different suspension, so they can't change around. And it's all got independent suspension, a Formula 1 car. Of course, every modern Formula 1 car does, but it works in tandem with each other. So the rear tyres constantly keep the same speed, even if they are off the ground. The battery kicks in and gets it back up to speed within a nanosecond. So it's incredible technology. But the front wheels don't have anything. The front wheels are just literally held on by the front suspension with the brake-by-wire system. So you're not even braking with any real brakes.
Okay, just be aware, Max, it is quite gusty out there. Variable lap to lap.
Yeah, it's quite hard to be consistent.
Understood.
Yeah, winds picked up now, 13.3 kilometers per hour blowing in from the north, so it's a headwind across turn 1 and 2, so getting worse out there. It's a headwind uphill towards turn number 1. Norris, Piastri's 1,000th up on his soft tyre, went to Russell. And I think Norris might have backed out because he was a little bit slow coming through turn 9 at Oranges, up into Pico to Paco at turn 10. Yeah, Norris, I think he's on a slow lap here, Remy. He's not going as fast as I would expect him to be. Yeah, he's on an off lap.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
so, will be investigated.
Yeah, so they are the stewards, and Norris backs off on a lap. So turn 12 involving Hulkenberg and Norris will be investigated after the session for causing a collision. So the stewards have looked at it and said, yeah, we've got to take a look at that for some reason. Piastri might go fastest here. Coming across the line now, just at the last corner. Piastri gives it full pedal. Here he is coming out of Aqua Briacus, and is he boxed?
In the pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's annoying. He was going to go fastest there on those soft tyres. Oh well, we know that McLarens are faster than the Mercedes. Really weird angle that Piastri's coming to the pit lane there, sort of half in, half out. And they'll have to scoot him around as Hamilton goes 7th on the 1:12.638. So Hamilton jumps up into P7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars in the pit lane. 9 are out on the track as things currently stand. 8 minutes 50 to go here. And look at that on the pit lane entry line. So the start-finish line got so much mud and grit on the racing line. So that's going to have to be clear. If that rains as well, it's going to wash it all across the track. We've just spent an hour rubbering this place up, and then now it's going to get washed away as Ocon heads down towards turn number 4 at Decina Delaga. Flips the car in, nicely done. A lot of exit pace as well. Getting a bit jumped up. Swoops up into Ferradora at turn 6. 7th gear, 280 kilometers an hour up towards turn 8. Down to 2nd gear, 85 kilometers an hour. Turn 9 at Oranges. You get it up 2nd gear, 95 kilometers an hour. Use the rear of the car to sort of speed it up, get it back around. Oops, we're having an OBS failure, so let's go back over and to the pit lane with Ted.
Who knows all, Karun Chandok is absolutely right, Karun. It is the rear. So you said you thought it might be a problem with the rear suspension. Yeah, correct. It's the left rear. That's I think you can see at the moment, all the activity is taking apart some pieces of the left rear and the suspension. I've just seen some devices that put the torsion bars back in, take them out and put them back in. They have this little device that grabs hold of it and takes it out and then slams it back in again. They've been doing that, so it looks like there was some issue on the rear for Sargent's car. The good news for him is that it looks like it is pretty much fixed. And if you're still in the shot, you'll see the tyre blankets coming off his soft tyres, and he's about to go out and see if that problem has been rectified. I will now go back out to McLaren and see what was going on with Piastri. I must say, while you said that he was setting those quickest sectors, they were coming out into the pits ready to receive him. So I think it was a planned in-lap going back into the McLaren garage. But I'll back up there now.
Thanks, Ted. We've lost...
Indeed, we appreciate his dedication.
Okay, checking. We're checking everything now.
It's no good.
How aggressive are the curves here, then?
Yeah, we've lost power up in the commentary box as well. We've lost control of OBS. We've got no idea if you can hear us or anything. It's completely frozen. So we're going to pass over to Sky while we fix it. Stay with us.
The car bottoms out sometimes and creates some issues.
You can see the negative camber and the undulations on this track when you get the shots on board with the camera that kind of moves with the car. I forget the technical term.
Gyro.
Sorry?
Isn't it a gyro?
That's the one. I always thought that's what you sign for every month.
What?
Forget it. Whatever it's called, I love that angle, especially around here. Or it's some sort of a kebab. I think they're pronounced
It's a Greek
gyros.
kebab. This is pronounced as heroes. What are you talking about? Let's just get back to motor racing.
I don't want to talk about 6 minutes to go, and we see Zhou Guanyu out on track. We've had soft tyre runs from Hulkenberg and Albon. Joe's on the soft, Magnussen on the soft too. Let's have a look at turn 4. Decido del Lago with Nico Hulkenberg.
Carried a bit of understeer.
Ooh. Yep.
You know what that reminds me of?
Go on.
Interlagos 2007. Lewis Hamilton coming out of that exact corner, lost gear sync, and lost the World Championship.
Yeah, good point.
Dropped down the order and couldn't come back through, and Kimi Räikkönen snuck it through by a point. And a similar thing, he went through that corner and then just came out of it with no gears.
I mean, it's got to be a worry. I know it's only a practice session, you've got time to put it right, but it's got to be a worry. Not just for Haas, but for any team, to know that is possible. That loss of power.
Especially the other Ferrari teams, And I think the Ferrari and sharing whatever information they gather out of Nico Hulkenberg's car with the other teams. So Carlos Sainz is on a set of soft tyres, go under 5 minutes ago. Let's take a look at this lap.
Leclerc as well.
Yeah, so Ferrari are doing a bit of qualifying practice here, which I think is a sensible idea. You get a chance to at least make some setup changes, some balance changes before we go into Parc Fermé for qualifying. I think that's a good idea. So Sainz through the middle sector of the lap, not a particularly stunning first sector. It's decent, and but we'll see where the middle part unfolds.
Now, it might not be decent for Carlos Sainz. I'm not sure what's happened to Charles Leclerc because he dropped a heap of time through the first sector, whether he ran wide and had to back off a little bit. Sainz continues on his way with a 36.5 for the middle sector, which I think is about on par with some of the other soft tyre runners that we've had. And now we'll cross the finish line. That goes fastest by just over 1/10 of a second. That lap really came, I think, to Carlos Sainz. The longer it went on. Meanwhile, is
The checkered flag is out. The session is over. We apologise not being able to bring you the last 10 minutes. We've had power cut up here in the commentary box, which has kept us from bringing the end of the session to you. Just our luck, isn't it, at the end of the session for everything to go wrong. But we have completely lost access to everything. So we're on literally backup equipment. Carlos Sainz has gone fastest on a 1:11.732. Leclerc is second, 1:11.840. Russell, Hulkenberg, Albon, Stroll, Gasly, Zhou, Sargent, Magnus in the top 10. Alonso, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Ocon, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, Norris and Piastri right at the bottom. Bad luck there, Omi, for Norris and Piastri so far down the order.
Yep, absolutely. As well, so let's see how they're going to be able to get on. But that's it. Practice is done, and we're going to be straight into competitive sessions for the rest of the weekend. Only 1 hour of practice, and it's all done and dusted. As well as you now watch Logan Sargent to the final corner being impeded there by the Ferrari.
Yep, Sargent in a bit of trouble on that side of the board. So fingers crossed we'll get everything sorted. First car to take the flag was Danny Ricciardo. And it was Charles Leclerc who impeded him as well, I believe, coming to that part of the track. Hulkenberg's gone fourth. This is coming through on board with Pierre Gasly. Here's the radio.
Yeah, Gasly.
What's Esteban doing?
Esteban has backed off.
Yeah, but I'm pushing. Guys, just useless.
Okay, mate, we'll discuss after the session.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, well, Gasly was on a lap time and he can't really do anything else about it. And he's been told, well, it's all gone wrong. So that is a bit unfortunate there as well. Apologies for the breakdown in communication for us here up in the commentary box for the last few minutes of the session. Sadly, nothing we could do. It all went wrong as Danny Ricciardo comes back into the pit lane as well. Hopefully, it'll fix itself going into the race, the qualifying session later on as well. But thank God next year we're using a different software because it all just goes wrong. So it's Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Hulkenberg, Albon the top 5, Stroll, Gasly, Zhou, Sargent, Magnussen top 10, Alonso, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Ocon, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, Norris and Piastri. Omi, who's your pick a pole for later on?
Do you want to take us to the results first? Or?
I've just done it.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't even listening. I think I'm gonna, for bold, I'll go for Albon. But I'm gonna predict if it's dry, Charles Leclerc.
Excellent. Can't wait for that. Thank you very much for this session, Omi. Thank you very much for sticking with us on YouTube and Twitch. Sorry about the loss of the last 10 minutes. Situation beyond our control. We'll see you later for qualifying. Take care. Bye-bye.